This is Robert Clinkybeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing business content from accomplished leaders to bring you value, scale your business, and better yourself personally. We hope you really enjoy the show, and I encourage you to share with your network so they can subscribe and we can expand these messages globally. We are also super excited to be supported by two brilliant sponsors. If you're tired of measuring properties, Site Recon platform fully automates measurements so you can focus on sales. So think measurements, think Site Recon. The other sponsor is Company Cam, who make it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with guys in the field, no matter where you are. Company Cam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy to use app for you and your entire team. Company Cam is the only app every landscaper needs. Check it out. Hi, this is Robert Clinkybeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. I am super excited today to be joined by Natalya Berdikyan. I probably didn't say that quite as close. Tell me in your original language.
For an Irishman, it's beautiful. Natalya Berdikyan.
Okay, you say it way better than I did. So welcome to the show. Tell the audience a little bit about your background, please.
A little bit about the background. Okay, originally from Moscow, Russia, hence the accent. For 24 years, I lived in US, Belgium, Holland, Spain, Germany. Twice in Spain, because I came back to Spain after 12 years in Belgium. From Soviet Union to California to Europe, the world is my oyster. Life without borders and boundaries. Always challenging status quo, which moved me from running a chocolate factory to a coaching business and using energy as a great methodology to help people feel more fulfilled and productive and satisfied with their lives and businesses.
Okay, that's awesome. Before I get into your coaching, and this is a question that's really true to my heart. I mean, you've obviously done a lot of traveling, probably a lot more than most people in the world. I'm a firm believer that you get more out of life through traveling and experiences than perhaps getting a degree.
Definitely.
What's your thoughts on that?
Definitely. I think when I was 16, going from Russia to US was a transformational experience for me. We're talking about post-Soviet Union, Moscow, California. I mean, speaking of extremes. But the fact of living with the local people and embracing the local culture, going to local schools and getting out of that comfort zone many times, I must say, because I lived in 4 families in one school year, went to 2 different schools.
Wow.
It wasn't just about the language. It wasn't just about the culture. It wasn't just about the geographies change. I mean, you had the same experience, right? Going from Europe, from Ireland to US, and there you are. It just opens up your whole mindset, perspective, and the world it goes upside down first, but then it gives you so much more, and you cannot compare it to any book, any degree, any movie. And imagine you do that repeatedly all the time. Okay, maybe not to that extreme, but
right.
Depends. We have a choice.
That's good. So tell me, I mean, what was probably the biggest challenge, even just, as you see, going from Moscow to California? I mean, not only totally opposite weather-wise, but cultures. I mean, what was the biggest challenge that you struggled with adjusting? Or maybe it was just so great that you were just so happy seeing the sun and being around great people.
Well, I must tell you, there's something about the sun that ever since I wanted to go back to the south. So I did move to Spain, and out of all places, the island of Spain in Tenerife, Canary Islands, pretty much more Africa than anything. And the blue skies definitely makes a big difference. That's what gives me energy. But I can't say one thing because everything was so different.
Right.
And somehow it was fine, although it goes up and down. Christmas time was really sad for me because I'm very much, New Year's is a big thing in Russia, and
Yeah.
Christmas is a big thing in US. It's a different culture, celebration. But I really enjoyed being part of the family, or even families, and we're still in touch 20 years after, more than that. So it's such an enriching experience, and everywhere I lived afterwards, you create such an amazing experience and friendships that last forever. It's like part of life. You live several lives, and I feel like I have lived so many different lives. Yeah, some of
That's
it
awesome.
was done with traveling, and then the rest.
So do you think that had a big influence in why you moved into coaching, just with having that, that life experience and being exposed to so many things and wanted to be able to share some of that experience?
Definitely. I lived, well, got into different industries. I worked in many different industries and started entrepreneurship quite early in age, while graduating from school, business school in Amsterdam. And I got into the corporate and backwards. Definitely having a lot of experience helps to go back to coaching, and then actually kind of, while living it, you kind of live it through, and then you give it back. You have something to give back. But it's not just that. At a certain point in time, while having a really great business I loved and everything, something felt like it wasn't it, and something had to change. And what I wanted to build is a system, an ecosystem where great experts, coaches, therapists, consultants can do what they do best. The last thing they want is sales and marketing, right? They're just brilliant at what they do. And have the people and organizations get what they want, is to learn and grow and get clarity and solve their challenges and move forward, becoming their best selves, and do the same for their organizations, and combine the two. And then coaching, it was a natural thing because I did come also from the HR background and leadership and organizational management and everything. And I found it absolutely fascinating. And because I always challenged status quo by nature since I was young, on top of the traveling and all of that, I just remembered my sister always said, well, you do need to have a second opinion. One is not enough. And sometimes it's not enough. If you have or embrace a limiting belief or someone else, just because someone tells you you can't do it because they couldn't do it, so, or whatever experience, they taking it on you, and then you believe it, and then you assume and you interpret, and that blocks you for the rest of the life, or at least for the choice that you're going to make or not make. And I just fundamentally disagreed with that.
Right.
And so coaching is a beautiful way to support and challenge people go through that, and much further and higher, do something they didn't think was possible for whatever the reasons were.
Yeah. So true. I mean, I'm sure both of us go into companies and we start asking questions, and a lot of the time we're talking to people in leadership, people in the executive team, and when you start probing a little bit more, a lot of them don't know really who they are, where they're going, what their purpose is, but meanwhile they're trying to lead their team and where they're going. So do you see that when you go into and talk to people or talk to companies?
A lot. People seem, I mean, look at all the great leaders and CEOs we work with. At the end of the day, it comes down to their value system and their own purpose. I mean, they lead all these great companies and they're doing really well. and they're challenged more and more, and they need to be more agile, etc. They don't know who to go to. They have to be so confident in front of all these people and coming back home to also manage that. And it's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot of pressure. And at times it's not even humanly. And because they judge themselves so much to be performant and to do all these, to put into all these habits in place, and to get up at 4 a.m. and to go to the gym, and by 6 to be at XYZ and do the 12 hours or whatever, and be still fresh for the family and juggle the both. It's a lot. It's a lot. So if there is a way to help these people understand that it doesn't have to be so difficult. And that's why I love energy leadership methodology that I use. It's at the end of the day, it's all about energy, because, energy transmits, and
Right.
we attract what we are, not what we want, type of thing. Not just the physical energy. I understand that you get a lot from running marathons and the great stuff that you do as an Ironman, but there's so much to it. And it's just fascinating helping people to be more conscious leaders. And there's just so much more out there, more than just performance. It's the mastery that we're after, and the sense of fulfillment while we're doing it, because otherwise what it's for.
Yeah.
Okay, check all the boxes.
So
what do you like? Sorry.
So how do you, when you start talking to, an owner, a founder of a company, there must be some resistance that, I'm going to sort of let somebody come in, ask me all these questions, trying to, let my guard down. You're right. A lot of owners of companies, they have that armor around them, trying to protect themselves from all these people coming at them. But, meanwhile, you're coming in and telling them to let that barrier down and talk to them. And what do you see in terms of resistance, and how do you overcome that resistance?
Interestingly, I have not experienced resistance with people I work with, simply because, you cannot coach someone that doesn't want to be coached. Otherwise, it's a waste of their time and money and energy, for that matter.
Right.
And it's like the more you give, the more you get. At the end of the day, they're there for themselves to improve whatever that is they want in life and business and work and or family. At the end of the day, it's all pretty much intertwined, right? They come with one challenge and we end up working on something else. And with all that, they grow. And it's an amazing process. And it's such a fulfilling thing for me. And I've done so many different things. And I must say, it's the most fulfilling work for me. See people transform even within a couple of months.
That's great.
Every session is transformational, but when you really see, and then they admit it, and they go from being stuck to clarity, from living someone else's values and purpose and objectives and KPIs, to building something they truly want and dream of, and designing their life and being a creator, right, rather than a victim, sort of at the effect of whatever that is happening. And that's amazing. I find it a beautiful experience for both.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I've experienced the same, where, once somebody lets down their guard and really is truly transparent with you, and you start having some sessions and opening up, within, as you say, a few months or 6 months, you almost see that weight lifted off their shoulders, and they just look happier. They just look, almost like that glow around them. And it's so just powerful to see that, because they can almost perform at a different level. They're having a different relationships now with their family and their friends, because that weight's been taken off their shoulders. So you must see that as well.
Certainly. And that's what I love, giving them the tools and the awareness and understanding and the tools to choose how they want to live their life and how they want to build their business and to lead, whether it's themselves or everyone else around them,
right,
in business or even at home.
So talk to me about one of, you don't have to give any names, but one of your most fulfilling moments with a client. You felt as though you had that transformation, or that you just see the difference.
Because I work with energy leadership, being that people come feeling at effect of everything, be it COVID, bankruptcy, bad mood, someone, conflict, etc. And it can happen every day. And every day we tend to fluctuate with how we see the world and how it affects us. And what I do, I work on raising their energy and their perspective and how they think and feel and experience, how they come across in anything. How we do anything is how we do everything. And I must tell you, with some recent cases, it really is a couple of sessions to give them the tools to recognize where they're at, which level or mindset or whatever we want to call it, and see it through a different set of glasses. And by looking at every situation, be it a negotiation or a conflict with a family member, there's at least 7 ways to look at it. That's what I give. And just by seeing it through a different glass, they have the solutions, and it's not even the solution. The way they experience the situation is different. So it's not heavy anymore. It's not they move from the place of fear and anxiety or anger and frustration and competitiveness or tolerance and rationalizing and stuff, to the place where they are in peace, in the flow. They connect to self and others, and great solutions come to place. And lots of entrepreneurs go there, but they also tend to tap down because everything can affect them, right? So give them the power to not be at the effect and rather be a creator of the situations and the experience that you have in those situations. And the funny thing is, the moment they stop, and recently in the conversation, feeling like being attached to the outcome they want, because they all want to succeed. They want the company to do well. They want to hit those numbers. They want to do everything on their list. They want to get up at 4 a.m. and run the triathlon. All that stuff, which is a performance mindset, is ticking those boxes. And thing is that people see their value by ticked boxes, but their value is not that. It's much more than that. And so the moment they stop being attached to the outcome and let go and actually connect to their values, to their purpose, to their passion, to people around them, to be more aware of all of that, whatever is happening, how it affects, and what they want, how they want to run their business or live their life, and get in that state of flow, even greater performance comes. But it's not a burden anymore. It's not the draining energy that they have to get this done and make everyone else do the same. It's a different way of work and running the business and leading more conscious and ego transcendence. I talk a lot about ego and judgment because those are so hard.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we learn that at EO in our forums, and it's so difficult not to judge and not to judge yourself as a start. And that performance thingy is one of those judgments because it's heavy and it's draining. It's just a different mindset. Everything can stay the same, but your experience is different. And therefore, at the end, even performance and results, but you also feel much more fulfilled on top of that. And that's what we're all after. So
No, that's really powerful. It's really powerful. Yeah, you said something even earlier that, when you actually get them to realize that they don't necessarily have to live the values of others or seek approval from others, but it should be about their own purpose, their own values, which they've either suppressed or haven't even thought through what those are. I mean, that's huge right there. Just that release and being able to live the life for themselves.
It is. It is. How many people are running after something, their big goals, objectives? And I was always asked, what are you really after? Why is that important? I mean, I suppose you do that too. And at the end of the day, it's not the goal that we're after, it's the feeling that once we achieve it, that we're after. So if the feeling is actually the goal, what do you really want to do about it? Maybe you can have it tomorrow instead of 3 years from now selling the company at XYZ.
Right.
Because through these next 3-5 years, you're going to feel so much more heavy because it's that performance measurement. But what we're really after is however we're going to feel once we've achieved that goal. And with that, we can plan a different strategy that is not so draining and heavy, and also it affects other people around us. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, because I've even seen scenarios where they've been so goal driven and have put so much stock on that final outcome that it's either affected them health, and sometimes very badly. Sometimes it's affected relationships with either the partner or with their kids, and there's been a lot of damage along the way. And that's definitely when I see cases like that, it's pretty sad to see. So I like her approach, and how can you look at changing that approach along the journey?
Yeah, so they can enjoy the journey, because at the end of the day, it's not about a destination. I mean, we all end up, it's pretty much the same place. The question is, what do we want to look back to, and how do we want to feel?
So true.
Yeah.
So true. So yeah, and you work with clients just in Europe. Do you work all around the States? And then when you do that, I mean, do you come across any type of cultural differences that you have to adjust your approach, or pretty much the same crazy entrepreneurs all have the same challenges?
Well, everybody's unique. There's always a tailored approach to every personality, because everybody is unique. And as much as we all have similar challenges, the approach of every single person is different. Some like more exercises and tools, some like being more in the flow and are more creative. Well, mostly all the entrepreneurs are creative, but some like more structure and not. So it really depends. Working from US to Australia, and that's a lot of fun. And because I've been exposed to so many different cultures, I mean, the chocolate factory I run, we had 20 nationalities at the factory. So
Oh, wow. That's
adapting
cool.
to different cultures. And one can say the Dutch and the Belgian culture are similar. I can tell you, very much apart. When you have to lead these people, the approach is different. But yeah, with coaching is the same, very much tailored and mixed groups. I really love group work and the dynamics in the groups and the teams, and how to move shift the people working in a collaborative environment whereby they can open up and trust each other and come from the place of creation rather than competitiveness and defensiveness and the ego and the judgment piece. I mean, it's so heavy, but it exists. I mean, yeah.
And then, if people are interested in learning more, I mean, what does your typical approach look like? I mean, are you talking to your clients on a weekly basis? Is it typically once a month, or is it just when they need to reach out to you?
The most efficient, I would say, how I work with programs we do 3 weeks every week, a session every week. So we meet every week for 3 weeks, 1 week break, 3 weeks, 1 week break, 3 weeks. So within 3 months, there's such a huge shift if done right. Generally, when people really want the shift in their life and their business, they tend to be in that process pretty well. And then ongoing. In comparison to when I had the session once a month, and that's extended, the effect is much different. It just takes so much longer, and between you can lose a lot of momentum. That's personal experience. Of course, it's always adapted to the needs and the possibilities of the person. And if we talk about company, it's a completely different ballgame.
Right. And then at the end of those 3 months, I mean, is something that you're relying on your clients to tell you where they're at? Or, I mean, can you just see that from, looking at them and just seeing their how they carry themselves?
It's always the agenda of the client, right? They come with a certain need in mind at the beginning, whether they're life or business objectives. And throughout the process and building the strategies and working inside out, you see where you're at. And generally people want to go further and grow further, because at the end of the day, our full potential is pretty much unlimited, right? And it is about becoming your optimal self. Same for the business. So it's pretty much ongoing. And you can definitely see the shift. The interesting thing is they say how they see and experience the shift from a session to a session. And that's a beautiful thing to hear objectively.
And did you usually see some of your clients come back to you after a period of time where, it's like when any of us go to any type of a learning event or a great speaker, we get all inspired, we we get on this treadmill for 2 or 3 months, and then suddenly we get sucked back into our daily routine, and suddenly we're back down in the weeds again.
Well, it's not a Tony Robbins motivational type of stuff, so it's really inside out work, and it stays. So I really give people the tools to carry themselves throughout moving forward. And of course they stay longer or they come back, but what I give is also something they can use on other people in a way they give it back to the other people. They become the kind of leader that is resonating at a higher energy level and is more conscious, etc. And that's how they lead the organization, and that's what they transmit to their team as well. We can integrate the trainings for the teams. But what I meant, what you asked, how you see, I use energy leadership assessment at the beginning of the program, whereby I can see where the person is at when everything is great, what is their go-to perspective, mindset, behaviors, etc. And then under stress. So I give them the 2 results. and what puts them under stress and how they experience and why that is. And we work out to move them out of that. And then at the end of the program, be it 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, they do that assessment again. And generally they are much on a different level. And that's a tangible thing, a part of everything they would be doing and improving and growing within that time we're together.
Yeah, I love that. So we're going to wrap things up here, but if people want to reach out to you, they want to hear more about your offerings and your coaching, what's the best for them to do that?
Well, if you can spell out my name somewhere within wherever it's published, it's LinkedIn Natalya Berdikyan or Instagram Natalya Berdikyan. It's lifebydesign-academy.com, and then contact at. Want to send an email, connect, reach out by any means, send a dove, anything works. I'm here to support.
Yeah, we'll include all your contact information or postings and how to get in contact with you, but really enjoyed you being a guest on today. Love your messaging. I love what you do to really work with owners and entrepreneurs and just take them out and just re-energize them. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, and I love your book. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Love the mindset.
Thank you, Mom. It's great to hear you're doing your swimming, you're doing your biking. That makes me feel good. So I'm glad it inspired you a little bit.
Yeah, you did. Well, I tell you, when finishing those 25 kilometers on the bike, I was thinking, does that even qualify for Roberts? Can I even mention that? But I do the best I can every time.
Hey, that's all you can do. So
exactly, continuous improvement, not the performance. So
sure. Okay.
Mastery mindset. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a lovely day.
You too. Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today, and we've got some great takeaways for your business and your personal life. This is Robert Klinkenbeard along with David Anderson, and we'd love to get you and your friends to join us on our journey. 2 quick things before you go, listeners. Check out our website, thecommerciallandscaper.com. You can subscribe, you can share with your friends, but more importantly, check out our sponsors. We have Site Recon, who are going to help to capture measurements on your property and create a really streamlined process. And we have Company Cam, who make it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with guys in the field, no matter where you are. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.